Well, yeehaw! We are one more day closer to the weekend. My goodness, what are we going to do? It's not just any weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend. But let me tell you, wow, I think we need a 3-day weekend. First off, let me see who's in here. Real Rockin' Robin is telling Mermaid, she said, "Good morning, my sweet box wine drinking friend." You damn right. Boston Mom said, "Hit that thumbs up, please. It helps your old buddy Brooks up." Good morning, Uli. Oh, there we go. Fun to ski. 23 months we've been friends. She said, "Oh my, where has the time gone? I love my CLL family." Well, I tell you what, not just speaking for myself, but I think I can speak for everybody in here. We love you too. Now, if my eyes did not deceive me, oh, hold on, I got to check my mail. Mermaid is buying the picnic squirrel table on Amazon. Oh, please do, because they're obviously not enjoying the backyard enough. You see, between the corn, the pecans, and the pool, they don't have enough recreation out there. Please do it. Look at that, Muscles and Mascara member for 29 months. Where has the time gone? She says, "Hey, CLL family." We are a little family around here, are we not? I really cannot wait to get that squirrel picnic table. I really can't. First off, very, very important. Today is Sarah's birthday. Y'all put your hands together, sing it loud, and let's tell our wonderful friend Sarah happy birthday. And many more. We love you, Sarah. Love you, love you, love you. Love talking to you in Discord. You're just an amazing person. Love having you here. Mary Beth, look at that, member for 12 months. So glad you're here. Mermaid is still concerned about the squirrels. She says, "Greg, don't cook them." Between the 127 of us and the gatepost, old DT driver would eat a white dog turd thinking it's a marshmallow. True story. He didn't eat anything. You don't ever try to throw away leftovers in this house. Okay? You just don't. Because he'll be like, "I was going to eat that. I was going to eat that. I was going to eat that." It is a never-ending saga. Thank you, Real Rockin' Robin. Look at that. Member for 16 months. Girl, what am I going to do with all of you? What am I doing with all of you? Let's take a second and tell everyone hola, and we're going to get to the show. And look at that, another member milestone, 16 months, and we have Angel already making it rain in here. Look at that. If you were gifted a Crime Lines and Lies membership, you can thank our girlfriend, not in that way, don't get horny, Angel P. And where we go, look at that. Uli girl, member for 20 months. I don't know what to do with you girls. I don't know. The love is coming on. I got some love this morning. Mermaid has made a holiday. Are you guys ready for this? She texted this to me right before the show. She said, "This is National Just Because Day. On August 27th, National Just Because Day offers up an opportunity to just do stuff, just because. So feel free to celebrate this day any way you choose, just because." I think we all need a just because day, do we not? Let's have a round of applause for Mermaid making an amazing holiday. Rockin' Robin's already got the idea. Look at that. She got 3 wine classes, and she says, just because. Now, again, because I know you all can keep a secret, every day is just because day for OJ. Okay? He seems to like pick and choose when he is going to be active or not. You know, he's got this thing, instead of MAGA, it's MACA, Make America Cat Again. So if you vote him for president, he is going to guarantee you at least 18 hours of rest a day. You can sleep on any counter you want. If the person that takes care of you makes the bed, you have every right to unmake it, get in it. You can knock stuff off of any table, any counter until you get your way. Also, if your bowl is ever empty, you can fire that person. Yeah. It's going to change everything. It's not socialism, it's catism. And look at that, muscles and mascara. What is going on around here? Y'all, it is raining. Thank you, girls. Yes, I put that on the channel not too long ago. He's going to change the world. He damn sure is. Also, any dog that comes in your yard, you can attack them. And if the neighbor brings a veterinarian bill to said owner of the house, which we know the cat owns the house, you will listen to one Irish man who may or may not have had some beer tell the guy to get fucked. Anyway, there is his campaign picture. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Fake Bombay for president. What are you going to do? Well, I tell you what, we have a lot of stuff going on with Sebastian's case. Most importantly, the FBI, who has been involved in the case since the very early stages of the case, has put up a $50,000 reward. This is from the FBI. This is no bullshit from YouTubers putting together a bunch of money that are just going to take it back. $50K coming from the FBI. What does that tell you guys? Now, I saw a lot of comments yesterday, and I mean a lot. Some people said this is because of Bullhorn Betty, Tony, and Seth. I don't really think the FBI listens to those three. No offense. I don't think they really listen to them. I have a feeling there's new evidence. And I still can't get it out of my mind how they went to Kentucky and searched that landfill. Sebastian has now been missing for 6 months. Somebody knows something because he didn't just vanish. And it's not like he hasn't been searched for extensively. Lisa A., thank you for the super sticker. I love you. So here it is. He's such a cutie. Look at him. He is such a cutie. $50,000. Okay. Date of birth, December 7th, 2008. Hair, blonde or brown. I don't get the different colors in hair. Eyes, brown or hazel. I don't get that either. What color are his eyes? 5'5", 120 pounds. Now I want to talk about that for a second. 120 pounds. I had a discussion with someone yesterday, and they said, no, he was killed in the house and he was carried out by Chris. Well, how far can Chris carry him? And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking up for any of the parents. I'm just not. I'm not picking sides. I'm not playing the Team Seth, Team Proud Feets. I'm not doing that. But in all actuality, let's just say something in the house happened. Chrissy Poo runs home undetected. Undetected, meaning no traffic camera, no GPS, nothing picked him up. Then, of course, he has to make it back to work to be accounted for. How far is he going to get with 120 pounds of dead weight? To me, it makes no sense. But hey, I've seen stranger things. The FBI is offering a reward of up to $50,000 for information leading to the whereabouts of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Rogers has ties to Clarksville, Tennessee. I don't know why it doesn't say Hendersonville, because that's where they live. He was last seen February 26, 2024 in the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and black square frame glasses. Sebastian has medical conditions, including autism, that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. Of course, you can call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, or you can call your tip-in to 800 TBI fine, or you can contact the field office in Memphis. Most importantly, you can submit an anonymous tip online. Now, it goes without saying they're looking for real tips, okay? They're looking for real tips. They're not looking for things that are thrown around on YouTube, things that are discussed in Facebook groups. They're talking real tips. And it doesn't even have to be from February 26th. Somebody could have seen something, let's say, at the Texas Roadhouse a couple of weeks earlier. Someone could have noticed something at school. I mean, you get what I'm saying. I'm not saying that specifically. I'm just throwing things out. So, that is good. 50 grand. Hold on. Nerdy Girl said they put ties to Clarksville because that is where Seth Rogers lives. He confirmed that on the lab. Well, I get that's where Seth lives. But Sebastian disappeared from Hendersonville. So, I mean, where is Sebastian? Let's get to some of the updates.
Bracelet right here, it says Sebastian's Army, and members of Sebastian's Army back here behind me are outside the sheriff's office today, reminding everyone that it was 6 months ago that Sebastian Rogers disappeared from his home in Hendersonville.
Today is the 6-month anniversary of him going missing, and it's very important to keep Sebastian's name out in the public so he's not forgotten. And we were very pleased to hear about the $50,000 reward. That's going to be very helpful.
Yes, now the FBI is offering a $50,000
$50,000. 50 grand. Nerdy Girl said, I agree, Brooks. Yes, my friend, I wasn't arguing with you. Just to me, some of the stuff that they say just doesn't ring my bell, if you know what I mean.
reward for any information that leads to the missing 15-year-old with autism.
I hope that's the catalyst to make something move.
Damn. I really like this guy, by the way. I really like him. He's a straight shooter. The way he explains things makes sense. And he says, I hope this is the catalyst to get someone to talk. Now, we know the names that are thrown out all the time. You got Team Seth. You got Team Proudfoot. You got people talk about the Bauer socks. You got all that stuff going on. It is safe to say that anyone that did anything to Sebastian will not be getting the reward, because $50,000 will not buy a good defense. So it's going to have to be someone else. The neighbors have been talking. The neighbors have been talking. Somebody has had conversations with them over the months, and it can be the smallest things.
Ken Widener with Sumner County EMA heads up the continuing search effort for Sebastian. To date, they found no trace of the teen. Yes, it's possible Sebastian wandered off on his own, but the FBI reward money concedes the very real possibility of foul play.
If somebody were to have done something and they told somebody something, it may be what it takes for that person to get that off their chest and make the right decision.
And now the TBI references the reward for information leading to Sebastian or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance.
Doesn't sound to me like the FBI believes he just walked out the front door. No. The return of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, or to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. These are strongman words, okay? These are strong words. This is not alluding to them thinking that he just walked out the front door. I don't care what Chris and Katie said, because they are investigators. They can figure things out. Now, to have a complete case, and that's in any case, they need Sebastian. Now there's a $50,000 reward.
Now, remember, investigators have never named any suspects. Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
Still, after 6 months with no good leads, everyone wonders how a child alone could vanish without a trace. So the hope is someone out there knows something and calls in the key tip to 1-800-TBI-FIND and helps solve the mystery of what happened to Sebastian Rogers. Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
Woo! Woo! Snowflakes, nightmares. It sounds to me they know what's happened and they're using money to entice. Yes, ICU is in the house. So glad to see ICU. A lot of people are asking about why is there not a reward for Summer? I do not know. I do not know, but we are going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. Let's rewind about 5 months when they said there is no new evidence in the search for Sebastian Rogers. It was discussed back then that if they had a reason for a reward, then they would put a reward out. So I'm getting really tired of people giving credit where credit's not due. This is an investigative thing. So let's do this rewind and look at what they said months ago.
It's been 3 weeks and no sign of Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers.
The TBI is chasing leads in his disappearance, but they have few clues. Our Michael Warwick talked to a man trying to keep Sebastian's name front and center tonight.
This area of Shackle Island looks very different than it did 3 weeks ago when Sebastian Rogers went missing, but the TBI pledges its work continues around the clock to find where he went.
Do not lose hope. Do not let your mind steer you to the worst case scenario.
As the days pile up since Sebastian Rogers was last seen, Sumner County Commissioner Don Schmidt, with a 15-year-old himself, is keeping the faith.
Well, as a dad, it hits me, and I can't imagine what his dad is going through right now, the pain of not knowing where his son is.
With the search team's command post disassembled, the TBI says most of its work finding Sebastian is happening out of public view. Rescue crews checked over 2,000 miles around Sebastian's home. To this point, the TBI says there's no proof there was or wasn't a crime involved.
Okay, so that was months ago. They said there is no proof that there was or wasn't a crime. Okay, that was then. Now we have a $50,000 reward, and they are saying to the arrest and conviction of those responsible. Wow. Two totally different things.
Have no sign of the autistic teen. All possibilities remain on the table. And now that days have turned into weeks, Don is pledging to post about Sebastian daily, even traveling to Clarksville last night for a prayer vigil.
It's powerful. You know, there were groups of people that would gather around and pray for his safety, you know, of course, his safe return. It's great to see the community come together. I wish we had more of that.
The TBI asks the public to refrain from sharing speculation and only report credible tips to law enforcement.
What I like is, you know, we can disagree on issues, and that happens, but one thing we can all agree on is this is a child. We all love our kids. No one can dispute that.
Don will keep doing his part, sharing this flyer of Sebastian and encouraging whoever out there knows something to say something, because the community is not giving up hope. Michael Warwick, WSMV4.
So again, that was months ago. As of today, we have a totally different investigative tool. $50,000. $50,000 would help a lot of people. A lot of people say, why now? The only thing I can do is go through what we already know, that there is new evidence. Just Kat. She can't chat because she's at work. But does anyone else know of a case where there's no foul play suspected and there's a $50,000 reward? Not just a $50,000 reward, but one from the FBI. If he simply walked out the front door, they wouldn't be putting that kind of cash up. And don't get me wrong. It's not like they got 50,000 ones sitting on a desk waiting for someone to bring Sebastian in, okay? Truth be told, a lot of times these rewards are not even paid out. Seriously, they're not. Y'all remember the case out of Alabama where Crazy Vicky and Casey took off? She got him out of jail and they wound up in Indiana and the car wash guy turned them in. They were all over the place looking for them and they had a nationwide manhunt. Oh, Car Wash James never got that money. PJ Vision. She said, thank you for your prayers and support, Brooks. Love you. Love you, PJ. Everybody, our very good friend, PJ, is currently sitting next to our very good friend, Dolly's bedside. He has had a heart attack. He's not doing well. Now, what are you doing leaving me a super chat, PJ? I offered to send you all food yesterday. Well, not Dolly, because he's on a special diet. Let's take a second and send our well wishes to both Dolly and PJ, please. PJ, if you want to come up and talk to us, we would love it. Excuse me, I got a cough. Yes, here's to a speedy recovery. A lot of people have been asking, why is there no reward for Summer? Look, I don't know. They're obviously two totally different cases. And they're like, well, it's because of publicity with Sebastian. Well, there's a lot of publicity with Summer, okay? I'm telling you, to this day, even after 3 years, and I'm getting a show together for Summer in a few days. To this day, I have a feeling that most of the phone calls I get in Hawkins County have to do with Summer. Summer had a reward at one time, but it got sent to the Child Advocacy Center. Okay? So there's no reward for Summer. But the FBI did not put a reward up. But the FBI, the card unit, said there is no abduction in Summer's case. That would be the difference. No abduction. Something deeper is going on with Sebastian. Not that Sumner's disappearance isn't deep, but I think they have new evidence. There's something that they have come up with. Now, since we are discussing that, Don Wells did have advice for Katie Proudfoot. Okay? He did. I'm going to go ahead and put my fair use sticker up there. This is from White Boy Radio. Y'all ready to hear Don's advice for Katie Proudfeet? KP?
So somebody let them know. And matter of fact, for any creators who know them, we're gonna have to call. You want some testimony from the Wells for that courtroom? Do you need testimony from the Wells? We're gonna make that happen tonight. Just so you have it. This is embarrassing. This think about this. Bullhorn Betty has a restraining order against her, and the person who did it was a parent in a missing child investigation. That is like embarrassing, dude. Like that's bad. That's bad. Think about that. That's bad. You know, we think the parents did it. No. This happens all the time on YouTube. Everybody needs a boogeyman, and Bullhorn Betty is the worst person for that. She always needs a boogeyman. There's no.
Now then, I am not going to get into a pissing match with anybody today about Bullhorn Betty. I will say this. She's crossed the line in too many cases, and the law is the law. I know people scream and yell, and they're like, oh, well, Katie and Chris need to go out there, and they need to go find Sebastian and not worry about her. Who in their right mind, if they felt that they were being threatened by somebody, would not get a hold of law enforcement? Especially, look at white boy's O-face. Damn, those ears look like a 1980s satellite dish. Remember those ones that our parents used to put in the backyard? Then they quit working. It was like a big old fat bird bath out there. Damn white boy. Her behaviors over the years have become more and more paranoid, okay? They really have. She crossed the line in the Quentin Simon case. Police had to get involved. She crossed the line in the Gabby Petito case. Police had to get involved. She had run-ins with the police during the Idaho 4 investigation. I mean, all of that. And now we're to Sebastian. She crossed the line in the Summer Wells thing. Police had to get involved. So when is enough enough? Rexy, watch it, Brooks. We have to use one of those. You have one of those big old huge ones, Rexy? Those big huge satellite dishes? Like those Radio Shack things from like way back in the 80s? Girl, we got to talk. I bet you get all kinds of free shows. So it's not going to do you any good to be confrontational with police, okay? It's just not going to. And when you've already had one detective, because she's got a lawsuit going against Queen Bee, it's like, leave her alone. If that's her opinion of you, that's her opinion. If she already had one detective say, you really need to get some mental health workup done. You need to get some therapy, okay? So, I mean, I know everybody's up in arms about this. They're looking at her like she's some sort of Malcolm X or something. Look, scream and yell all you want. No one is going to clear Seth until the evidence suggests he should be cleared. That's just all there is to it. You can scream, you can yell, you can stomp your feet. It's not going to work.
no, in Bullhead Betty's eyes and her logic, there's absolutely no way in hell. Let me say this first. In Bullhead Betty's eyes, she thinks that a parental figure is responsible for Sebastian missing. But also in her eyes and her logic, there's no way in hell that Seth had anything to do with it. But without evidence or any receipts, proof, or whatever, it has to be the Proudfoots. And they are actually doing this restraining order because I'm getting too close to fucking finding answers. Yeah, no. You know, I about wanted to do this live to crowdfund how good would it be to rush in a restraining order for the Wells? You know, this lady cannot, you know, I thought about it. I thought about it. But I don't like crowdfunding. You know, I don't do the shenanigans for crowdfunds because there's too much bullshit with that. But
he doesn't do crowdfunding. Are you kidding me? He was in jail last year and his wife went live and he was on the phone from the pokey begging people to send her money until he could get out of jail. He doesn't do crowdfunding. Woo! The hypocrisy. Give me a second. I got to get my boots. The shit's getting deep.
Listen, man. Listen. Somebody get this to Katie Proudfoot. I'm going to call Don right now on live. Right now. Man, I'm going to tell him he don't know them people and he's willing to talk to them. And if anything, man, then people should just take a statement or something or anything, you know, into the courtroom with them. That would be my suggestion, man. Let's see if we can do it. Let me ask you.
What you doing, bud?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not much.
Hey, look. Good old Don. Your daughter's missing. Hey, what you doing, bud? Oh, not much. He don't have a missing daughter, right? Oh, not much. Yeah. I thought felons weren't supposed to talk to felons, but hey, call them right up on YouTube. Go ahead.
Look, I'm live right now. You would not believe this. Let me tell you this, man. You remember that the missing boy from Tennessee, Sebastian?
Yeah.
So Betty has, you know, fucked with that family so much that the mother is putting a restraining order and her parents are putting a restraining order against Betty. So she got 3 restraining orders filed in literally 24 hours. It's on the local media up there on Tennessee, I think. I'll send you the link. But dude, you should try to help this woman when she goes to court and just tell what this nutball.
You want Dawn Wells to help Katie Proud, the Proud Feets and the Bobo Socks? Now, don't get me wrong. Don knows his way around the system, but he wouldn't be the character witness I would want to bring into the courtroom. But that's just me, okay? I don't think I'd want to bring Don in with me. He's still a person of interest in his daughter's disappearance.
You should try to help this woman when she goes to court and just tell what this nutball did to you. You know, we'll get you fired and all this crazy shit. You know,
listen to him. Right.
So I'm going to put it out there for people and hopefully, you know, maybe.
It's definitely got to be some kind of harassment or something that they could be charged with because
stalking.
Afraid to hire me because of these people, because they fear these people coming to their offices and the job sites and everything else. It's bullshit. They shouldn't be able to terrorize.
It's bullshit. By the way, we're live and shit right now. That's one of Dawn's favorite phrases. She don't know we're live and shit. It's bullshit. They terrorize me. Now, I have said it before and I'll say it again. They had no business going to Dawn's work. Not because I'm all, oh, poor Dawn, poor Dawn, poor Dawn, poor Candace, but because there's other employees there. There's people waiting for work to get done on their homes. There is a business owner that's got to pay people for the day and probably had to pay them for a full day because they got ran off. So that is not cool. You don't bother people's jobs. Like I told you, there's 2 or 3 bitches that have been after me for about a month and a half now. I don't know when these whores are going to go away. I know where they work. I know where they live. Do you think I'm going to spend a drop of my piss or energy to fuck with their jobs? No.
Coming to their offices and the job sites and everything else. It's bullshit. They shouldn't be able to terrorize. That's exactly what they're doing. They're terrorizing.
They're terrorizing. Yeah.
Man. They're going around ruining people's lives. It's already been, they've already been really hurt bad. They don't need no more drama, But yeah, they should be able to be charged with terroristic, I don't know, something terroristic, because that's what they're doing.
You're right. You're right.
Terroristic. Now, I will say you need to leave people alone. And listen, when you're told to be at court, you need to get an attorney and you need to figure out how to navigate the system. Because when it says on the court docket, pro se, that means you don't have no attorney. You don't have one. And no attorney would advise their client to, 1, not show up to court twice. No attorney would tell their client, hey, make sure you go live and talk shit about that family as soon as the judge says to leave them alone. A good attorney would say, move on to something else. Don't even say a word that rhymes with Tennessee or Sebastian. No. But now we have these 2 geniuses. If you were to manifest the brain power between White Boy and Don Wells, we might be able to toast some bread lightly.
You're right. And I just wanted to call you live because I'm talking about this right now. And I don't know, there might be some YouTuber that knows them, kind of like I know you guys. And hopefully this lady, when she goes to have her day in court, she can, maybe, show this or play this, possibly your words can get to a judge, Don. I don't know. It's just a wild throw.
Hopefully your words get to the judge, Don. What? No judge wants to hear from Don. And Don damn sure doesn't want to talk to a judge. What freaking, do I need a new planet? Is there anything for rent on Mars?
From me, but
if I did something like that, damn good well they'd be charging me with something.
Yeah.
If I did something like that, they'd be charging me with something. This is I love this. I can't stop.
It's just a wild throw from me, but if I
did something like that, damn good well they'd be charging me with something.
Yeah. You're right.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's terroristic in nature for sure.
It is.
Hateful, hate, crime, all that stuff. It's not right at all.
Stalking and harassment. This lady's always talking about it's her amendment and her constitution. Bitch, it's also innocent until proven guilty under the Lady Justice, who's actually blind. Lady Justice there's a reason the Statue of Liberty has a blindfold. She's blind.
She's being a terrorist and trying to hide behind the our laws.
Yeah,
and all that stuff, but
Lady Justice is blind. Lady Justice is blind. Well, guess what? Cops aren't. Judges aren't. DAs aren't. Keep up with the metaphors if you want. But this is ridiculous. Dawn to the rescue. So for those of you asking, why on earth is there not a reward for Summer? You're listening to it. Look who's steering that boat. Look who's steering that boat. And if Lady Justice is blind, there wouldn't be two fucking felons on here talking to each other.
Well, she's doing a service.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't say you're under the Constitution, this and that, but pick this family member and glorify this one, but attack these people to the fullest with no evidence. That's the silliest thing in the world.
That's all a game to them. It's just all hate. We know where hate comes from.
Yeah, man. All right. You hear Noel?
Y'all take care. God bless.
All right, bro.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye.
He didn't even want to talk to White Boy. He got off that phone. He gave him a God bless and the whole thing. It's a wonder he didn't just ghost him and not answer at all. So anyway, you just saw some real advocacy, real advocacy for Summer. So when people say, why is there no reward from the FBI for Summer? May I count the ways? It's a wonder anything really is getting done in Sebastian's case. This is from Jay for Justice. She got this clip from the news. This is where Seth calls the Sumner County Sheriff a douchebag. I have a feeling he is a douchebag, but that's not the way you get things done.
I'm tired of the incompetence of the people who are supposed to protect our kids. They're supposed to protect us. They're supposed to keep our community safe. And yet they don't. And nobody holds them accountable or responsible. And it's the community that's supposed to be holding them responsible. Right now, they're holding an election for some douchebag.
I personally do not blame him for his, what's the word? Demeanor. I don't. I'd be furious too. I'd be more furious that Tony has his dick breath and sweaty pit in my face.
I'm tired of the incompetence of the people who are supposed to protect our kids. They're supposed to protect us. They're supposed to keep our community safe. And yet they don't. And nobody holds them accountable or responsible. And it's the community that's supposed to be holding them responsible. Right now, they're holding an election for some douchebag that doesn't even understand that I am missing my son. I just want to thank everybody for showing up.
Whew, boy, my goodness. I'd be more pissed that Tony's hanging over me. All right, protest planned. Here we go. Like I said, a lot of stuff's going on. Some people are saying, look, they're just causing drama. They're just causing trouble. You can't have more drama than what you've already got going on. And that is the fact that Sebastian is missing and many agencies are involved.
6 months since 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. This morning, a rally is planned at the Sumner County Courthouse to keep the case in the public eye. Peyton Kennedy's here with more on all of the timing of this.
Yeah, Neil, Sebastian's father says he's been told that they will receive new information on the investigation today. Meanwhile, the rally is happening at the same time this morning as the county plans to name an interim sheriff filling the vacant position. This appointed officer will hold that position until a special vote happens in the November general election. Family and those close to the case say they want to keep the investigation going and hope finding Sebastian will stay a priority under this new leadership. There's been no sign of Sebastian since his disappearance, but his father, Seth, says he believes he is alive and he continues to search for Sebastian. Sebastian, again, he's 5'5", 120 pounds, dirty blonde hair. Anyone with information, call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or 1-800-TBI-FIND. We'll be at the rally this morning and we'll share that latest information with you on News 2 at 11.
Protests are not going to work. We have watched the news over the years. We have seen areas where police stations have been burnt down. They still didn't get their way. They still did not get their way. This comment right here from CJK. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat. Good morning, That Cat's Life. CJK, I agree with you 100%. I feel bad for Seth. I do feel bad for Seth. But aligning with the shady peeps has not helped his case. He's run off decent people who were on his team. Like I said, they can scream, they can yell, they can stomp their feet. Whatever they plan to do, it's not going to speed up the investigation, and it's not going to get them what they want. And the last thing Seth wants is to join with people that want to make a mess, okay, for whatever reason, and him wind up in jail. Could you just imagine how the internet, well, those that follow true crime, would erupt? How could they arrest Seth? How could they do that to Seth? He's the only one looking for Sebastian. Oh my God, what are we gonna do now? That's the last thing he needs to do. He just really needs to stay cool. The FBI, I have not read anywhere they have taken over the case, but they have put up a $50,000 reward. So for the ones that have been screaming, what about Sebastian? What about Sebastian? What about Sebastian? It's always been about Sebastian for the ones that are the most important. And that means, well, some of the people that love him, like Shelly W., she became a new YouTube member. Thank you, girlfriend. And to the investigators, several different agencies. I have a frog in my throat, excuse me. All right, here we go again. $50,000 reward. $50,000 will make you holla. $50,000 to make someone holla. Where in the hell could Sebastian be?
Information now in the search for missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers.
Oh my goodness, I love her dress. Not to change the subject, but I have to figure out where this girl got her dress. Man, that is a cute dress.
This morning,
the thing is, people would think I'm an Oklahoma State fan if I wore it, but man, I love that dress.
FBI announced they're offering a $50,000 reward for information in the case. The 15-year-old was last seen at his home in Hendersonville 6 months ago today. Peyton Kennedy has been reporting on this case from the very beginning. She is live now outside the Sumner County Courthouse, where a group has gathered to keep Sebastian's name top of mind. Peyton.
And Nicole, when this group learned about that $50,000 reward, they cheered and said progress like that is what they have been pushing for. The FBI is asking for information leading to the location and return of Sebastian, or the conviction and arrest of those responsible for his disappearance. Right now, there are about 15 people outside the Sumner County Courthouse who are advocates for bringing Sebastian home. They prayed together and are standing with signs showing Sebastian's Amber Alert, calling themselves Sebastian's Army. This case has captured the local community and the nation. I spoke with a woman who has a true crime social media platform and has been following Sebastian's story like so many. She says she's worried the focus has moved away from Sebastian and strayed into drama, but
that's because she went to jail and there's protective orders against her. There's a lot of stuff. People keep saying, oh, the influencers, the creators, all this stuff. Look, who's doing it? Who's really doing it? She was even taunting yesterday that they can arrest her again. Hey, look, don't be begging nobody for a good time, all right? Now, I don't understand why people are picking on these T-shirts. I thought the T-shirts were nicely put together. I mean, of all the things you're going to talk about, who gives a rat's ass about a T-shirt?
it's hopeful that this reward will bring more details to light.
I think there's a lot of attention but not in the right positive way. It seems clear to
Well, make it positive. Make it positive.
a lot of people that this child didn't just walk out of his house and he didn't just disintegrate in thin air. And our opinions are that a few people have more information than what they're saying. And, you know, we're keeping that also in the spotlight.
If you have any information, you can call the Sumner County Sheriff's Office or 1-800-TBI-FIND, as well as your local FBI office. Live in Gallatin, Peyton Kennedy, News 2.
All right. All right. Now, there is a reason, in my opinion, that the FBI put another picture up of Sebastian. It's not the one that we normally see. Okay. Diva said, I like the shirt. I like the shirt too. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a shirt. It's a shirt. You know, awareness is awareness. I mean, of all the things. But on the interview room a few weeks ago, Chris McDonough, I know somebody in here is going to be really happy about this. Him and Steve Johnson broke down the interview between Chris and Katie. In all fairness, Katie was the one that was home. We have absolutely no verification that Seth was anywhere around. We have absolutely no verification that Chris was around. It was Katie at home with Sebastian. And this has been a real issue for a lot of people. It's got to be one way or another, especially since there's a $50,000 reward. Some people say don't read into that. Well, then what the hell is the reward for? Because he walked out the door? Well, then what direction did he go? Did the dogs lie? Did every dog they have out there lie? Very interesting. Listen to how they break this down.
It begs the question, are you hiding something?
Well, and that's to dovetail into your thought. It's interesting they go from what the likes are of the Sebastian, he likes to play Twitch, to we're cooperating with the authorities. I mean, it's almost like this, you know, he jumped into a different train track immediately to tell everybody, well, we've let them have access to all of the information in their, you know, our computers and his computer, et cetera, et cetera. But what's interesting is the authorities have said,
PJ, girl, how are you guys holding up? Guys, I'm going to go off topic for a minute because I want to check in on PJ. You know, Dolly had a heart attack. He has to have a stent. PJ, talk to us. How's everything going? PJ.
Hello.
Hello. Thank goodness.
I have been having terrible signal. Like I was trying to tell you when you had called earlier or last night. I forgot the day or time, so I'm just walking out to the car. But it's like I would get a missed call and never get a call. So
just wanted to make sure when I called you yesterday that you had something for dinner. You know, that you, if there's anything you guys needed, you know.
Oh, I know. It's a little overwhelming right now. I've been in that room for 2 days and I just got outside. So I'm kind of like, I was trying to come up and say, hey, and thank you. And it's hot. Oh my God. It's so cold in that room. I feel like I'm in another world right now.
Uh-huh.
So hot outside.
And hospitals and casinos, time stands still.
Yeah, this is different. This was an ICU room. Oh.
I'm surprised they let you go in there. I'm glad they did, though.
Well, they absolutely had no choice because I was about to bust down doors already to begin with before we even got in there. But, yeah, it worked out. So It'll all be okay. He got a stent put in, and he should be moved out of ICU today. So we're going up. That's all that matters.
Going up. That's it. Because I mean, I was stunned, when I heard it yesterday, and I texted you, and well, soon
I was
you got.
stunned. I mean, I know he just turned 50 2 days ago, but I mean, I didn't realize. And he always jokes about how I'm dating a senior citizen, and I really didn't actually ever take that to consideration as ever being a possibility. So.
Well, what are your thoughts on Sebastian's case and the $50,000 reward?
They've got to have something. Why does it say the note section in the second paragraph that he's got connections to Clarksville, where Seth is from?
That doesn't make any sense if he went missing from Hendersonville.
Right. It's like there's a special secret note there that we're not really meant to know why it's there, but it's there. I mean, this whole time I felt like they knew something they weren't telling the public.
And that's in every case. We already know that. We
I
don't
know.
hear
That's very true. Yeah, that's true.
We don't hear it till they go to trial. But, for them to put this out because, Seth was upset.
Demanded that they put something out. So, I mean, it's kind of what he wanted.
Yeah. Because he put this on his channel, Seth R. Rogers, Sebastian's father. It isn't about the lack of humanity. It's about evil versus good. Major Tim, Sumner County Sheriff's Office, informed me today when I called him about Sebastian that they have information on the case, but they don't feel like sharing it with me today. He said they will share that information tomorrow. Why does my son have to wait until tomorrow? He is important to me every day. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. When will they going to remember that they are supposed to protect the people?
I really feel like Seth digs a hole for himself and gets into it every time he talks.
Yeah. You can tell some of the stuff he puts out isn't well thought out. You can just tell.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's his own worst enemy for sure.
Do you think the reason they weren't going to tell him about the reward on Sunday when he called is because they knew that he would go and tell it to someone and be leaked?
I mean, I think that's one of the reasons, but I think there's several reasons. They knew that he had ties to the protest that was coming up the following day. And they basically, to me, it almost sounds like they were waiting to have something to say on the day of the protest and the 6-month anniversary. So he was going to have to wait like the rest of them because he's not important, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell when he types stuff out because he's very sarcastic.
Mm-hmm. Kimberly Mann wants to know what were Dolly's symptoms, if you can share them, because she said he's fine on live that night.
Yeah, no, he was fine. He had sudden onset chest pain and then diaphoresis, sweating, excessive sweating.
Wow.
But he had a blockage, a full blockage on his right side and had to have a stent put in. They got here in 19 minutes and the stent went in and then he was being monitored in the ICU and he should be fine. Thank God. They did have to shock him back once, but I mean, it's somewhat to be expected with a heart attack.
Absolutely. Thank goodness they got there so fast.
I'm losing you. All right, I gotta go. I don't want to lose service and lose you, so I figured I'll say bye first.
Okay, I'll call you back later. Bye, girl. We love you. Well, it's not good news that Dolly had a heart attack, but it is good news that he got to the hospital so fast. But just to imagine having discomfort in your chest or pain in your chest and you start sweating. You know how many people ignore those symptoms? I mean, do you know how many people ignore it? And they're just like, oh, hell, it's hot in here. Turn down the air. Or, oh, I got to lay down. My chest hurts. There are certain things that we can't ignore, and I'm glad he didn't. And I'm certainly not going to ignore this because look, Lexi gifted 5 Crime Lines and Laws memberships. If you received a membership, you know who to thank. Her name is Sexy Lexi. It was really good to hear from PJ because I know everybody's really been worried.
That not everyone, nobody's been cleared. And that unfortunately includes them. And they said that at the 2-month mark. So maybe that's where the concept of as far as has a little more weight and a little more power. Maybe there's other things that there hasn't been a lot of help with. I don't know. I mean, I'm just right. I mean, you've been in this situation 100 times where we've talked to folks that have said A, B, C, and D, and it's E, F, and G, and you go, well, you
Right.
know, I'm not buying that yet. You know,
This is actually the fact that he said that is a statement to portray himself in a good light. Why does he need to portray himself in a good light in this situation? Again, that is unexpected, and it's something that we often see in situations where we hear that from people that have some guilty knowledge in the situation. He shouldn't be having to portray himself in a good light. Mom shouldn't have to be portraying herself as a good mom. You see, we're seeing a pattern here, and I think it's going to continue on.
$100 says you clip this and into your classes.
I'm not going to take that bet because.
All right, hang on. Here we go.
Still just don't have any answers.
Did he have any friends that could have possibly contacted him in some way on his phone?
All his friends at school have been questioned to my knowledge, and none of them knew anything.
So this big question mark. He's vanished.
Yes, ma'am.
And no one can figure out where or why. All right. So let's talk too about the relationship involved, because the biological father is very much involved in Sebastian's life as well.
Yes, ma'am. Very much.
Right. And how would you describe that relationship, the two of them and the 4 of you?
Now I'm going to jump in because before all of this happened, or as people say, the drama, the YouTube, all that stuff. Chris and Katie, I got this tickle in my throat. Geez, I hope I'm not getting sick. They said Seth is very involved. Katie was really bragging him up. Then we came to the fork in the road. The fork in the road, okay? And the core family, as in Sebastian's family, his mom, his dad, his stepdad, went opposite ways.
It's relatively good. I mean, we talk regularly. He talks to his son on a regular basis, sees him on a regular basis. He's involved in school and therapy. And I mean, he didn't have any extracurricular activities, but I can tell you now, if he did, his dad would be in the front row.
I mean, 2 different households, and the communication between the 3 of us is great. I mean, yes, we're just like every parent. We all have our disagreements, but in the end, we come together as a team and we work and we come up with solutions that as we best see fit. I mean, I'm almost in contact with him almost daily.
Almost.
Is he talking about biological dad or
Yeah.
Sebastian?
He's
Biological
talking
dad.
about the father.
Yeah.
which is an interesting description there, because he's letting her talk, which is good, right? Because you know, her ex, yet he kind of colors in number 5 on the painting, with blue.
Right.
Everything's great, use paint number 5. Everything's perfect. But later on, it just unravels. I mean, the two are ready to strangle one another.
Well, and again, this is a continuation of him portraying himself as a good guy. I communicate with him almost daily. It's more of that portrayal, and I get it. I'm going to give him a break, because I want to hear about good relationship, but it needs to still be contextual, and still I want to hear more things, but most of what I'm hearing is CP kind of like rehabbing himself, if you will, for whatever reason. Maybe he's been lambasted a little bit in the media up to this point. I don't know, but
now, mind you, Steve Johnson is no dummy. Okay, he is no dummy. He knows how to break cases down. Chris McDonough, love him or hate him, is no dummy. He is a seasoned detective. Anyone getting the feeling that these two are raising an eyebrow at Chris, trying to paint a good picture. And remember, in the beginning, they were bragging old Seth up. Then when Seth started screaming and yelling, suddenly everybody went opposite ways. Now, it is my understanding, just from things I've seen, who knows, that they contribute to billboards, stuff like that. I did get a scathing email last week that I don't know what Chris and Katie are doing, but they are searching. It could be when Seth started the GoFundMe. It could be when he got private detectives. It could be when he started talking on YouTube. I don't know. It could be they shut everything down when Nina called out Chris. Talk about scathing. But we went from kumbaya, we're a wonderful family unit, everyone's here for Sebastian, to fucking.
But he has a need to portray himself as a good guy, which is, again, troubling. You shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, the whole clarity of focus, to your point, should be on Sebastian. I mean, what the heck is going on here? There's not this, 8 days later, it's almost as if it's like, okay. I mean, 8 days later, and and I've, in our situation, and I only speak from personal experience, of I can't believe this. This can't be happening.
Right.
It's like this fog of life, and here it's like, yeah, all of his friends have been interviewed, nothing. We turned over, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I love the soggy bread. I'm not buying any soggy bread right now.
Right.
I think we have a soggy bread emoji too, everybody.
Let's talk about Sebastian.
And she keeps feeding them a narrative. The reporter.
That is one thing I really like. Good Morning Reality Wins about Chris McDonough. And this is not the Chris McDonough show. I know we've gone off track quite a few times. He's very critical of the way reporters talk to people that are involved in crimes. I'm not saying suspects, not saying persons of interest, people that have been affected by crime. He's really critical. He's saying that this reporter is feeding them a narrative. If I was sitting there, I'd be like, who gives a shit about Seth? I want my son back. Don't be asking me these stupid questions. I want my son. I want my son.
And I don't know if she's doing it because she's sensing that she's not getting the right information, or if she's doing it to try to save the interview. I don't know. I would love to talk to her about that, but she's definitely feeding them, and she's adding a level of contamination to their answers. But yet, even with that contamination, we're still getting some great information as far as finding out what's going on inside their brain, what's up there. But yeah, a good interviewer should not be feeding something that law enforcement should never do. I get it a little bit more when.
I love this line that Steve Johnson used, level of contamination. I'm going to write that down. That's going to be a name of a show, level of contamination. That's why I like to listen to people. I don't listen to other creators too much. I like to listen to people that are like 10 times, a million times smarter than me. Level of contamination. And this is something he said law enforcement should never do. But this is a reporter that wants good TV and wants good ratings. People call me a tragedy pimp. Whoo! You have no idea what goes on at news stations. That's all they look at is ratings, 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 ratings.
When it's media and they have to keep things going, make the show, the interview a little sexy, if you will, appealing. And so she's trying to save it, I think. But I get the sense that she's not hearing what she wants to hear from parents of an autistic child that's missing.
So Ava says that she lives in the neighborhood. I don't have a confirmation on that, but I believe you, Ava, if that's what you say. That would be also interesting. But here's the good news is they were interviewed by the police long before the reporter. So hopefully they're taking notes.
Yeah, for sure.
About Sebastian, how would you describe him?
Sweet, stubborn. He loves to help. He loves running, and he loves to play his games and his fidgets and Uno. Lord, that's one of his favorite games right now. Favorite color is green.
Does he love music?
Oh, God, he loves music.
An eclectic taste.
From
as everybody knows, Eye of the Tiger to Eddie Vedder.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got Pearl Jam on one hand, we've got Survivor on the other over here, we've got Taylor Swift, and
he's got a big crush on her. Country rock.
no
Classic.
hip-hop. We don't allow the hip hop.
Well, he doesn't really
Well,
get into it.
Yeah, don't put that nasty rap music in there. Lisa, great comment. Why is she struggling to list things? I thought about that when I first heard this interview. It's like she's doing all she can to spew out what she can. Do you think she's struggling to list things or struggling to list things that sound kind? Y'all be the judge. Remember, in here, you guys are the judge and jury. Why is she struggling and fumbling to list things about her own son who is missing? Good morning, Dawn. She said, morning, love your channel. Love you, Dawn. We don't let him listen to hip hop. Can I tell you guys a secret? I know it'll go no further because God knows nobody's ever stabbed me in the back. When I'm giving this house a horse bath, I turn on Devil Without a Cause, Kid Rock, 1998, start to finish, and I clean the house. Okay? That's how I get the house cleaned.
But anyways,
You mentioned he loved running. So did he love the outdoors at all? I mean, would something outside that was somewhat outdoorsy be enticing to him or pull him outdoors?
he loves, like, when we were in California and the school had this lap thing to gain money. It was a fundraiser. And every year he was, I did this many laps. I did this many laps. I mean, I've got T-shirts where they would write on his back. Every time the kids went around, they'd mark a mark on the back and they'd keep running. And he just had marks all the way across his back. He likes playgrounds. He hates being dirty. He don't like being dirty.
Yeah, he's not a.
She says it with contempt. He don't like being dirty. He don't like being dirty. But he walked outside with no shoes on and has been gone for 6 months. He don't like being dirty. I don't like being dirty. These people.
He's not your tomboy style child where he goes outside and plays in the mud.
He loves animals, but he's terrified of bugs.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, even a fly, and he's like, oh!
Let's talk too, because he's highly functioning. I know you all have described him as having a form of autism.
He does.
But just describe that to our viewers too, as far as his way of thinking of things and maybe how determined he was about certain things or his mindset.
He's got a stubborn mindset. If he believes it's this,
He gets on a one-man track, and he is just on it, and he is all about it.
but I mean, he's very smart. He can play chess. He can beat adults in chess.
Wow.
So
he loves playing games.
What about navigation? Like, did he have a sense of direction? Do you think he could have possibly even hitched a ride or gotten a ride on a bus or some sort of transportation?
that is a speculation that we don't have an answer for. Just directionally, he knows he could guide you from our house to his dad's house.
Yeah.
He could get from like this house.
Because he's super smart. I hate the labels. I hate slapping labels, especially on children. And it's all over. He's autistic. He's autistic. He's autistic. So people are thinking he has zero sense of direction, doesn't know his address. I mean, anything like that. And he's like, no. He knows how to get to his dad's house.
I think he can make it up to Culver's ice cream.
He can go to Culver's.
Oh, the boy loves
He
a
knows
malt.
where Culver's is because Culver's has malt. He loves malt, extra malt. Every time, extra malt.
Now, how far away does his dad live?
Clarksville. His dad lives up by Clarksville.
So he could guide someone all the way to Clarksville.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a pretty keen sense of direction, at least with certain things.
Okay. His dad lives up in Clarksville, which we knew. The FBI is saying based out of Clarksville. Are we being led to believe now, today, I don't mean back then, that he walked out of the house with no shoes on and started walking towards his dad's house, and that he's somewhere between there and Clarksville? Now, if he was hit by a car or something, he would have been found. Some camera would have caught him. What in the world would the walking distance between Hendersonville, I'm going to look right now, well, if you're driving it, it's an hour, okay? Hour and 12 minutes. If you're walking, it's 18 hours and 7 minutes. Look at this. Hendersonville, Tennessee. Look at the map. Check it out. So if he was walking to his dad's house, remember walking because he's not driving, that's 18 hours. We're 6 months in. So hopefully 65 and Route 24 have been searched immensely. Immensely.
Familiar routes.
Yes.
Familiar routes.
Familiar
I
routes.
mean, if I took him another route going
He
this way,
takes
he would
it.
not know it.
He goes up there so often that he knows how to get to his daddy's. We know that.
His dad works with him as far as, oh, we're going this way, we're going that way, and keeps the same thing, and it works out. So.
Let's talk too, because earlier, Chris, you and I were talking, and you were saying that there are a lot of people who are harassing both of you. What, if any of that, do you want to address? What do you want to say to any of these people?
Just that you don't know. And I don't wish you to ever know.
I would say it like this. Everybody has an opinion, you know, and it's perfectly okay to have that opinion, but you're not in this situation. You don't quite understand. I wish people would step back, take a different wide open view, and not assume what they know. It's just better to stick to the facts. If they have questions, all they have to do is ask.
And I pray genuinely that no one ever goes through this.
Hey, Chris, that's, I don't know, the fourth or fifth time I think that she said, you know, something effective. I hope or pray that nobody ever has to go through this. And again, we've kind of talked about this before, but it is focus on herself and not Sebastian and what he's going through. So it's just, that's kind of like, because she keeps repeating it, it's, to me, that is what she has in her head is what is the soggy bread that people are going to buy, the reporter's going to buy. It's going to sell her emotion. And so she keeps repeating it, but it's void of what Sebastian is experiencing. I still haven't heard that. I've heard some things that he's, you know, that he liked, and his music and all the things that he likes, and but not what they're feeling about him at this current time and what he's experiencing at this current time. I still haven't heard any of that. And that's exactly what we should be hearing from, you know, de facto innocent parents.
Well, and I agree with you 1,000%, because what they're doing is they're buying empathy from the story.
Yeah.
To the community. It's like, I mean, how many times have we had that guy walk in, you know, with a buddy and say, you know, Hank, wait here, I'm going to go talk to the detectives. And then in the middle of the interview, Hank says, or the interviewee turns and says, well, if you don't believe me, go ask Hank. He's in the living room. And so what he's doing, and just my opinion at this point, she's buying empathy to everybody watching this story to say, you see, there's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Move along. Everything is cool. But to your point, what she's not doing is, my son left the house without his shoes. He's on the scale, the spectrum. He has autism. I'm just afraid. I'm scared what he may be experiencing. I don't know how to deal with this, you know, and that is the emotion that you get when it's more in line with, you know, the car on the right side of the road and there's no line for the collision.
For sure. Good way to put it. Again, and once again, very similar to what we heard in the Summer Wells case.
Almost verbatim. I mean, it's kind of scary, to be honest with you. And I know this is going to sound crazy, and I'm sure the trolls will take it I'm wondering if they watched some of that.
I was thinking that earlier. I was wondering that same thing. I just didn't say it, but I wondered the same thing. You would think if they watched some of that they would have learned how not to do things. But human nature is a funny thing, in that even people that, well, let's say, I'll mention this once in a while in my classes, that I'm teaching you about detecting deception and other information in the language. And even those that learn how to detect deception, they can't stop it in themselves. So even someone that's trained, they go out and commit a crime, they some kind of infraction or whatever, and then they're questioned about it, because that human nature is so
Yeah, human nature is a real bitch, and hindsight's even worse. I totally smell what Steve is stepping in. And a lot of people do compare Sebastian's case to the case of Summer Wells, because you have two children not that far away from each other. One's in Hendersonville, one's in Rogersville. We're looking at, 2-3 hours. And they seem to be deceptive from the get. They do. Only difference is Chris, Katie, and Seth carry themselves quite a bit different than Don, Candace, and Grandis. That is for sure. And Chris, Katie, and the Bobo Socks, I mean, they're taking the bull by the horns, the bullhorn by the horns, no pun intended, because they are not going to put up with anybody doing a live and mentioning any weapon. And I can say this for them. They could be the dirtiest bastards in the world. Okay? Let's just say that they could have something to do with Sebastian. I don't know. I really don't know. I know that Katie was there with him. I know Katie was there with him. And I know Chris has huge resentment towards Sebastian. And that is just from what I have heard him say. But if someone is talking about a pew-pew and a machete, I would think that you would call your local law enforcement. Who in here would call their local law enforcement if somebody is within feet of their home talking about machetes and pew-pews? Personally, I would. I would. Because you're talking about two totally separate things. You're talking about, what's going on with them and the protective orders. Sebastian is totally separate from that. Some people get it all mixed up.
so strong in the way the brain works that the same thing is going to come out of their mouth. They're going to give away all the same clues of deception. They're going to say all the same things that, and those as the people that they've been studying how to detect deception, you can't stop it. It's just the way that the brain works. And so here we go. Even if they have studied it, they can't change it. They can't change the narrative. They don't know how to. Yeah. And very few do. And it's very difficult to actually change the story enough to make it believable. They can't do it.
Oh, here's an interesting comment. In their very last YouTube interview a few days, they mentioned Summer many times.
Okay. I love what Steve just said there. They're trying to make it believable, but they just can't. I don't like when someone who was not at the home when the child disappears doing the talking. You can't be the historian if you weren't there. In my basic bitch opinion, the only one that should really be talking is Katie. She was the one there. We have absolutely no verification Chris was home. We have absolutely no verification Seth was anywhere around. We have absolutely No verification that the Bobo socks were anywhere around. I cannot stand it in these cases when people talk that weren't there. Okay, look, he was on the phone with her for 3 hours. That doesn't mean he was there. And there's a lot of stuff going with that 3-hour phone call. He told her to put the dogs in the cage. Why? Why put the dogs in the cage? Because supposedly when he's not home, the dogs sleep with her. So why would he care? Why would he care? Why did the timeline change at all? 10 o'clock, midnight, 9 o'clock. No. GB, thank you for the super sticker. GB said, Katie, stop lying. Where's Sebastian? Well, according to Katie, she had a 3-hour conversation. She, was reading. Chris told her to get her ass off the couch and go to bed. Sebastian just walked out the door. He knows how to get to his dad's house. That's an 18-hour walk.
Oh,
Well,
no kidding.
Wouldn't that be interesting, right?
Wow.
I wonder what the context is. Is it, and they went through it too? Let's see here. Katie elbows Chris when he's talking about bio father. Yeah, interesting.
Huh.
We all love Sebastian. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's keep moving here.
Let's go.
Just be kind to people. I mean, it's real simple.
There are some people who have been talking, because I know this is part of the harassment. Is there anything you want to address about this child custody situation with the previous?
What's funny? Anything you want to mention about this child custody situation, he starts laughing. What the hell's funny about that? And if y'all are being harassed out the ass, then why was Faith with you at all? Why not take her to the Great Wolf Lodge and go down the water slides for a couple of days? Why would you have another child at your home where a child went missing from and you're being harassed?
So I have a current case that is ongoing in another state. We've requested that case to be sealed because there are some individuals who have taken upon themselves to put stuff out there that they don't quite know, which all they have to do is ask. I'll tell you. But because of that, it has nothing to do with our son. It has nothing to do with the situation. I just people would respect that and then keep an open mind. It's totally different.
Is Sebastian able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs? And if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh gosh, that we love you so much.
I look at the way he's looking. Down and to the left.
Wow.
And this comes after the heels of that conversation. It's almost like bleed over stress, on the CVSA.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Where he had just talked about the custody problem from another situation. And now she's going to talk about, that one of the things I think we'll tell the audience, when you do a CVSA, it's computer voice stress analysis. It comes out looking like a block or like a Christmas tree. And on the second question, which would be an honest answer, is your name Chris McDonough? If you're still thinking about the other question that was just stressful, it'll also come out like a block. So we call that bleed over. And I think he's kind of like, I didn't like that question now that it's out there, and she's going to pick up on Sebastian here.
Yeah. Chris, hold on though. There's something very important though.
Yeah, I missed it.
This is biological mom, and reporter just asked, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear if he watches this? Now, remember when I referred back to what my wife would say when if something happened and she would say, my daughter is missing, my granddaughter is missing, my grandson, it would be she would take ownership. Well, listen to what she said. She didn't say to Sebastian, I love you. She included CP. She said, we love you. And what this is it's something that I don't expect to hear from biological mom. I want bio mom to say, honey, I love you, and come back and loving mom. And he's going to come home to loving mom. But she is aligning herself with CP, with her husband. He's the stepdad. And I'm not quite sure.
I can't agree more. That was another thing in this interview that really stuck out to me. We love you. You tell your son how you love him. Her words, not mine. She said, when Sebastian went to bed, he told her he loved her, and she just said good night. I have a feeling we have a lot of mamas in here. Not just mamas, but mama bears. The sweetest words you're ever going to hear are from your children saying, I love you. No one is going to just shut the door and say, good night. Unless you're Mrs. Hannigan from Orphan Annie. No. No. I think a lot of the distancing she has from Sebastian has to do with her relationship with Seth. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, and it's gotten me into a heap of freaking trouble. I'm talking steaming loads of shit thrown my way. But I really think that is the issue. She likes to separate herself from Sebastian because of her relationship with Seth.
Sure why she's doing that, but for whatever reason, she needs to associate herself with him. And it takes me all the way back to the phone call in the morning right away, called my husband. And the night before, when she skipped over time, she goes, and a little while later, I wound up going to bed. Well, in that time, she had a 3-hour phone call with.
Y'all, can we have a boom moment? A boom moment? Serenity 72, thank you for the super sticker, said if they were so worried about their safety that they had to take out protective orders, why wait until after CP's daughter went home? Holy shit. Y'all put some booms in here. We got to clap because there is not a truer statement. Oh, there might be a few, but for right now at 10:41 a.m. And back to what I was saying. For one, I do not blame anyone for getting a protective order if someone is doing something to you. If they're crossing some kind of boundary, they're talking about machetes and pew-pews and all kinds of medieval shit. Yeah, I would do it too. I'd keep their asses way away from me. I'm like, talk all the shit you want, but do it somewhere else. Talk all the shit you want, but do it in another state. You know? Do it somewhere else. Have at it. But why even bring Faith to the house? Why would Nina allow it? I'm not picking on Nina. But why would Nina allow it? Why didn't she say to the family court judge, listen, Sebastian is missing, and according to them, they have a lot of weirdos that are harassing them. I don't want my daughter in that environment. Can somebody show me the most excellent human being in this scenario? Besides Sebastian, of course.
With CP, she's on the phone with him a lot during this situation, instead of finding Sebastian. And here again, I don't know exactly why she's aligning with him, other than if what I'm hearing in her language is correct, that she has, there's that disconnect, which indicates, but it does indicate some kind of guilty knowledge on her part. She doesn't want to be in this alone. Just like she's grabbing him, like linguistically, psychologically, she's grabbing him like, we're in this together. We love you. She's using that we, and it's a very strong pronoun. She's unifying herself with him at that point in time.
Interesting. I'm going to go back just for a second and play that through. Okay, I missed that completely, but you're spot on this. It's interesting.
Totally different.
Is Sebastian able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs? And if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh gosh, that we love you so much, and we want you to come home, and you're not in trouble.
I don't like the not in trouble statement. It's not the first time we've heard it over the years from a parent of a missing child. I've never liked the you're not in trouble. Of course they're not in trouble. You want your child back home. That statement has never sat right with me. You're not in trouble.
I guarantee you he is loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home. From every parent to every family members to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice, that we just want our boy home.
Huh. So somehow.
Okay, I'm going to put my 2 cents in before Steve does. There's no malice. We just want you to come home. Fuck is this? Has he been watching Law and Order? There's no malice. We just want you to come home. Now listen, it's no secret that Chris is not a big fan of Sebastian's. Okay? Not a secret. And this rocking around shit, I know some people pointed out to me, they're like, Candace Wells didn't rock around. Well, she was stoned, okay? She was freaking stoned. You could tell. There's no malice. We just want you to come home. Oh, okay. She just says, you're not in trouble. Chris says, there's no malice.
We missed the we thing again, but what he just said there, it struck me too, is why does he have to guarantee that he's loved? That's more of that language is there to convince. It's like, well, of course he's loved. We expect him to be loved. Why do you have to guarantee that he's loved? That's just all that does is it begs the question, is he really not loved? That you now have to go out of your way and exert this energy and the words to convince us that he's loved? To me, it's an indication of something that I would hear from parents that are either abusive or neglectful, or a parent that is abusive or neglectful. It came out of his mouth. So I'm just thinking that, I don't think that he really loves Sebastian. I guarantee that he's loved. for me, it screams out, oh, there's a good chance that he's not loved. And on top of that, everything that came before this, Chris, him portraying himself as the good guy, mom being in self-preservation mode, portraying herself as a good mom. This all is leading towards it's stacking and shaping into the language of parents that are either neglectful or abusive.
Yeah, remember in high school where you'd go, yeah, sure, right? I love that part where this is such a serious question about what do you want if he's listening, and the response is, I love this part. Hang on.
Yeah, it's no sense.
I'm going to go back a little bit more real fast.
Do is ask, I'll tell you. But because of that, it has nothing to do with our son. It has nothing to do with the situation.
The old, what was the movie where, so there's a chance then with, what's it saying, Dumb and Dumber?
Oh, right. Yeah.
What are the odds if we can go out? Right? 0. So there's a chance.
I just people with shoulder shrug and keep an open mind. It's totally different.
If Sebastian is able to watch this, and maybe he's watching this as it airs, and if he is, what do you want to say to Sebastian? What do you want him to hear from you right now?
Oh gosh, that we love you so much and we want you to come home and you're not in trouble.
I guarantee you that he's loved. And trust me, the open arms are waiting for him to come home.
Yeah, I miss that.
Every parent, to every family members, to probably everyone in the community. But there's no malice that we just want our boy.
Well, I mean, why such the qualification, Steve? I mean, love, malice, you're not in trouble. I mean, those are 3 negatives.
Yeah.
To something he's asked about a positive. What do you want him to hear? Okay.
Not in trouble. There's no malice. We want you to come home. Yeah, I'd come running back home. Wouldn't you? Yeah, I'd come running right back home. And the fact that Chris was laughing when they asked about his custody case. And he's like, like everything's a joke. Like he's the smartest dude in the room. He looks like a potato. He's got no ass and he's shaped like a damn potato.
And she gives 3 negatives. You're not in trouble, et cetera, et cetera. What's your take on that? Is that's what you were saying a couple of minutes?
That's exactly what I was saying, and it's more indicative of abuse, abusing Sebastian in some way, and be thinking also in those terms. They brought up, I guess this is the second time now, and I can understand saying, "Hey, honey, you're not in trouble. We just want you home." I get that. But when you have this in the context that with all these other things, it begs a different context. And it's more the language of abuse than it is of we love you, we just want you to come home. It's not that. We're not that. If that was the case, we'd hear it throughout in all their language, and we're not hearing it. What we're hearing is no, all these other things that are coming up. And for me, as I'm hearing the context of this, it's like, wait a minute, did he get in trouble? Did he do something he wasn't supposed to do? And there's some kind of...
That's what I'm saying. And I'm glad that Steve picked up on it, as if Steve needs me. Is there something going on? Did he get in trouble? Why did she have to emphasize you're not in trouble? Why did Mr. Size 14 have to emphasize there's no malice? Hell, half the people that heard that probably had to look up what the hell does malice mean. So what's really going on? I go back to the Peter Hyatt. I really like him and the way he broke things down. And he said, I believe this was excessive punishment. I believe this was excessive parenting. Punishment gone wrong. And Chris wants to be the only size 14 in the house. Imagine how much he'd be tripping if he had size 14 shoes. Get real. Hell, that's not going to happen. He's only like 5'6". Sebastian was almost taller than him and could beat him in chess. Chess, not chest. He doesn't like that. Some people say, oh, you're being too hard on Chris. He hit him with the belt because he's an alpha male. Okay. I'm married to an alpha male. But he don't take his belt off and start swinging it at kids.
Malice, and there's was there some kind of abusive situation that went on, which I could see that would be why Sebastian might run, why they might know, because in their head it's like they know he went out that door. Was he? But I don't know that Sebastian would go out that door on his own. So was there some kind of punishment? Was that part of the conversation the night before when she's on the phone with CP for the 3 hours? Because I know already that it's probably was not the normal day. She doesn't remember those. She can't articulate linguistically what happened during that normal day. All those things that you would remember, the last moments. She can't articulate those things. Why? Because she doesn't. They're the things that it's opposite of a loving situation, the opposite of a normal day. Instead, she's trying to convince that it was. And so I'm wondering now, was there something, some kind of, did CP tell her, hey, do this to quell the situation, make him behave? And, I don't know. It's just pure speculation at my point on my part at this point. But that certainly would be could be a reason for Sebastian leaving. If there was something abusive going on there, and when I say abusive, I mean there's different levels of abuse, and for a child with autism, it might only take a minor incident of abuse that makes him think, hey, I'm not staying here. I'm to be afraid enough that he goes out the door despite. But I don't think in my mind, as I say that, I'm like, no, I don't think he would do that because he's afraid of the dark. He doesn't like being dirty. He's going out without his shoes. He's afraid of bugs. That doesn't make sense. So if he went out the door, and I'm pretty certain it happened at night, not in the morning. It was.
Okay, I'm going to cut him off for a second. Let's talk about everything that doesn't make sense. And we can actually talk about other cases where things don't make sense. The day that a child goes missing is always the most unusual day, unless it's a 1% abduction. Everything's the same around the house, the family, everything. Child's playing outside like Michael Vaughn, doing the same thing he does every day, playing, looking for friends to play with. But when the family is somehow involved, it is the most unusual day. Okay? Think about the case of Gannon Stout. The abuse had been going on against Gannon by Letitia for quite some time. The day that she murdered him, convicted, it's not alleged anymore. They had a very strange day. I think about Summer Wells, the day she went missing. It was a very strange day. Had to take Grandis to the hospital. Went swimming. We were going to go fishing, but no fishing poles. went to Walgreens, went to the hippie house, all these different things. He had a really unusual weekend, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. So what is this? You're not in trouble. Well, if he was in trouble, why would he get the colossal popcorn that they keep talking about? Why would you take him to Texas Roadhouse that evening if he was in trouble? Why? When our kids are acting out, we don't treat them. But in cases where a child is, I'm just going to say, not wanted by the parents, they seem to get the proper send-off in the parents' minds.
It was night when she's saying he told me he loved me. That's probably the time that he went out that door, whether she put him out the door to make him learn a lesson or what, I'm not quite sure, but it's shaping up to be in something like that. That's kind of what the language is saying.
Well, I mean, how many times in patrol would you roll up on a call like this? And if it's a runaway, 15-year-old runaway, right? And you get there, and the first thing you hear the parents or the mother say is, we got in a fight last night, and he's gone. I don't know what.
And we hear another, we haven't fought in a while. We've heard that in other cases. We haven't fought in a while. And you're right, it's not a colossal popcorn. If you look at the menu at the BJ's in Hendersonville, it's colossal cookie. So obviously that either accidentally on purpose got messed up, or the shit never happened because he wanted something and she just said, no, you've had enough to eat. We know there was issues with food at the house. They didn't want him just eating and free grazing whenever he wanted. OJ quit that. But they pick up on these little bitty points that really don't add up. Does anyone think he was really... Okay, OJ, thank you. That's mine. Thank you, OJ. Thank you. Why don't you get your ass outside? Go on. You broke my concentration, OJ. How do we know it wasn't Katie that got the cookie to walk around and told him no, because it's going to make you hyper. And I don't want to deal with you.
Did I do something? And you hear this self-loathing guilt and blame that the child left the house, and in this case, that's not what's happening here. She's now reiterating, as a final or a really important statement, she's given the opportunity, what do you want him to hear? And she relays these three negatives. You're, this and that, and you're not in trouble. And it's like, man, I hope TBI, I really hope that she said to TBI in the very beginning, like we just talked about there for a moment, that, hey, at 10 o'clock, I heard a thump. I went to check him at, 6 a.m., yada, yada. And I'm not going to give him any more clues.
Well, I think there's a lot of clues that need to be discussed. Colossal cookie, colossal popcorn. I don't care. I want to know who really got it. Was it her or Sebastian? Because she has complained about food consumption with him before. Ebony, I've missed you. She said issues surrounding food. KP says he loves the free samples at BJ's. I forgot she said that. That is a great point. That is a great point. So you have all these issues with food. You don't want him in the food. Is this a way of saving money? So you take him to BJ's and so he can snack up there? I don't know.
because they're going to adapt to it after this call here or this show here this evening. I know
Yeah, they will, and that's the norm. And also the other thing too is you mentioned that she heard a thump at 10 p.m. It's interesting because it's
The thump couldn't have been at 10 p.m. because she, in her original statement, was still on the couch. He told her to get to bed at midnight and put the dogs up. These are their words, not mine. Now, mind you, their time has changed quite a bit. And time does matter. It matters in these cases. It matters on a day-to-day level. Hell, I was talking to Katie and Ange this morning, and we were like, man, I can't stand it when I'm late. Like, we know time. What exactly was the thud? Thank you, Igatha. Could the thud have been the sound of a pantry door? I wondered that myself. And let me tell you what. Let me tell you something. This is a great point, Igatha. If you have teenagers in your house, well, if you have any kids in your house, they're going to eat you out of house and home. They are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to eat. When my 3 boys were at home, I used to have to buy like the family packs of meat, throw it all on the grill. I could barely get my ass back in the house, taking them off the grill, and they were already in the food. Teen boys eat a lot, and they should. They should. Was the thud the sound of the pantry door? Is that what set someone off? She had a lot of complaints about eating. She had a lot of complaints about how much he wanted to eat. What a great statement, Igatha. That could be it. We don't deny our kids food. Now, they can't sit down with a gallon of ice cream every day and a 2 liter of pop.
very, very common for a guilty mind to incorporate some portion of the crime and to put themselves at the scene, to put themselves on the road, to put themselves to they heard that, and it's more times than not, it's something that was spoken or heard, or seen. I'm sorry, seen or heard, and this is she heard something, and I can't tell you how many times that a guilty mind has linguistically then put themselves in the moment of the crime by saying, I heard something or I saw something. Yeah. So I think that's what's going on there. That 10 o'clock time frame is, I think, going to be pretty key.
You know, I'm leaning more towards.
We'll listen to Chris here in a second. I'm going back to what Igatha said. Could the thud have been the sound of the pantry door? Now, remember, she was very specific. She said she heard a thud, but for obvious reasons, she wasn't going to go into his room. Now, what obvious reasons? Like she thinks he's masturbating? What are the obvious reasons? Nobody says you have to barrel in there like Storm and Norman. You just go, everything okay in there? I just heard something. Never mind, she didn't mention the thud until the second interview. Are we making things up as we go along? Or are we hiding what really was going on? If there was a thud, what was it?
You know, I'm not going to give an opinion yet, but I'm leaning more towards the mom than the stepdad here for a moment. Not that I'm saying, you know, not that they couldn't have done I think she could have done something independent of him at this point. And if I was investigating this case, my opinion would be at this point, I'm going to really focus on mom for a minute here. And, you know, maybe he gets the phone call. Maybe he did get a phone call, just kind of like, you know, the other situation. And now they're building up. What's going to be interesting is see the relationship dynamics, because these types of cases like this, unlike Summer's case, and I think you would agree, Steve, a child, you know, of that age, 4 or 5, versus a 15-year-old, because in 3 years, let's push it where Summer's at, and it, you know, even today, in 3 years, he would be 18. And so that narrative is going to be a lot more difficult to control, because he's going to show up somewhere in the environment, social, you know, whatever. Because once he hits 18, the law says you're an adult. So they only have 3 years to play a game if they're going to play a game.
Yeah.
And they need to be thinking about that, because that's going to determine how much pressure is going to be on the two of them for the next 3 years in terms of their relationship. If they split, I'd go right to Chris and say, you know, let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah, that would be the best thing for this case, actually. But I agree.
I want to talk about this too before I get back to this. Real Rock and Robin, love you, girlfriend. If there was a thud, you remember the Idaho 4 case? I don't really cover it anymore because I keep up with it with my friend Jules of Crime Reactions. She got it all, man. I mean, the minute something comes out, she's got a video. I had many arguments about the dog that was there when the 4 kids were murdered. And people were like, oh, dogs don't always wake up. That dog is known to not bark. That dog is known to not bark, is what they kept saying. And I was like, fuck it is. It's a dog. Had many conversations, flat out arguments with people the day that Summer Wells went missing. Oh, the dogs weren't home. Well, those dogs don't bark. Wrong and wrong. One, in the Idaho 4 case, it is a proven fact by the probable cause affidavit that the dog was going apeshit. Okay? We have seen many people come up on the mountain, Wells Manor, to visit Dawn and Candace and Grandis. Those dogs are going crazy. You have some strange anomaly going on in your house, your animals are going to react. So the dogs didn't make any noise. Now, they're not going to bark if Sebastian's up to go get a snack. But if there was truly a disturbance that led to his disappearance, I would think they would react.
Be with you that, and I haven't made any, I don't have a firm opinion on this, but I agree that mom should be looked at, but I can't get away from the history of abuse on CP's part. And if there is abuse going on here, very good chance that mom Katie is being abused in some way, even if it's verbal, mind control, codependent on Chris in some way. I mean, how many cases have we seen where a mom or girlfriend or somebody will do something because the spouse or the significant other is making them do it, or they're afraid what the spouse will do if they don't do this, or they've been given the ultimatum that I'm going to leave you if Sebastian doesn't leave the relationship, if he doesn't find another home, if he stays here, then I'm gone. And you know, that's not uncommon. And so either way, it needs to be focused on mom here, but reasons why could be because of what she's experiencing in her relationship with CP. Just speculation.
Great point. But a la Chris Watts, you know, with the girlfriend.
Yeah.
The family goes or I go.
Yeah.
And I agree with Chris McDonough. I think in the Chris Watts case, I think Nicole Kessinger said the family goes or I go. And instead of getting a divorce, Chris Watts, well, we know what he did. Killed his wife and 2 baby girls and a son on the way. Now, we have heard from some neighbors that have said that it was a constant struggle in that home. Chris has even said this is not going to work out. Sometimes because Sebastian's too much of a handful, his words, not mine. I wasn't there. I hear what they're saying in this interview. You're not in trouble. There's no malice. Just come back. Well, what the hell, did he take his TV with him? He doesn't have a phone. But again, there's a $50,000 reward offered by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So going forward, no one needs to ask, well, what about Sebastian? What about Sebastian? I think they must have new evidence or they wouldn't have come out with that. They're not going to put out $50,000 if they don't think somebody knows something. They don't like to really waste their time. Nobody likes to waste their time. Somebody is going to have to answer for this. Wist says, what do I believe? She said, I think there was a fight. I think there was too. I think about the comment that was left in here months ago. I cannot remember the woman's name or the YouTube name. And she said, I think she kicked him out of the car between Texas Roadhouse and their home. I think she got mad at him and just said, get the hell out of the car. One of the first things that we heard her say is all his shoes are accounted for, but he doesn't like to go outside without shoes. I agree with Kimberly. I am hoping that reward has them shaking in their boots. Every one of them. Because now it's a totally different ball game. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. Obviously, I would keep advocating for my missing son. Obviously, that would not stop. But there's some dead weight around Seth I would cut off. Just my opinion. FBI is not, in my opinion, going to offer a dime for a child that walked out of the house. I can't stand when they say, run away, run away, run away, run away. Like I said, I don't care if your child is 5 minutes away from being 18. You're missing a human being out of your house. You can't find, they're missing. I saw some comments from people saying, well, thanks to Bullhorn Betty, Tony, and Seth, the FBI is paying attention. STFU. I saw one saying, I hope they give the $50,000 to Seth. STFU. Come on. Let's get into the real world on the real planet, or I'm going to go to a trailer park on Mars. Britt, it only takes one person to start telling the truth. Yes. And we don't know. Was he lured out? Did he have more online associations than what they allude to? I would think in 6 months, with all these agencies working on it, they would have the digital footprints. You would think. One would think. But I don't know. Y'all, this has been a great show. I have been loving your comments. You guys are really thinking outside the box today. I love this chat because it's not an echo chamber. And, well, you guys are just the absolute best chat and best community on YouTube. Can we have a round of applause for our mod squad? Could you imagine having cooler moderators than we have? All right, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central, I have a very significant update on the case of Quentin Simon. You all remember baby Quentin, right? He was allegedly murdered by his mother outside of Savannah, Georgia. We have, well, Lady Justice has got the train and it is full blast going down the tracks. Put a 1 in chat if you're going to be here tomorrow. I need a show of hands. I need a show of hands. Who's going to be here? Because you know that case gets me fired up. I hope OJ doesn't piss me off tomorrow because he was really working on it today. In the meantime, if I don't see you in Discord, one of the Facebook groups, talk to you through Messenger or whatever, then I'll see you back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We're going to have a lot to discuss about little baby Quentin. You guys are the absolute best. Love ya.